Excuse me. I'm calling about the estate sale in the newspaper.
You must come today. The sale is today only.
Where are you located?
1551 Edgecliff Drive
Where's that?
in Silver Lake.
How can I get there? I'm coming from Midtown, Western Avenue.
Okay, you must take Western Avenue south to Vermont. Then you must turn left on Vermont and drive 4.5 miles up until you get to Sunset Boulevard.
Sunset Boulevard? Let me get a pencil. Please go on.
You must turn right on Sunset and drive until you get to Lucille Street.
Okay, Lucille Street.
You must make a right on Lucille and go down 1 block until you get to Edgecliff. We're located on the left in front of the new kids' kindergarten.
Thank you. I think I can find it.
Good. See you soon.
Excuse me. I'm calling about the estate sale in the newspaper.
You must come today. The sale is today only.
Where are you located?
1551 Edgecliff Drive
Where's that?
in Silver Lake.
How can I get there? I'm coming from Midtown, Western Avenue.
Okay, you must take Western Avenue south to Vermont. Then you must turn left on Vermont and drive 4.5 miles up until you get to Sunset Boulevard.
Sunset Boulevard? Let me get a pencil. Please go on.
You must turn right on Sunset and drive until you get to Lucille Street.
Okay, Lucille Street.
You must make a right on Lucille and go down 1 block until you get to Edgecliff. We're located on the left in front of the new kids' kindergarten.
Thank you. I think I can find it.
Good. See you soon.
Excuse me. I'm calling about the estate sale in the newspaper.
You must come today. The sale is today only.
Where are you located?
1551 Edgecliff Drive
Where's that?
in Silver Lake.
How can I get there? I'm coming from Midtown, Western Avenue.
Okay, you must take Western Avenue south to Vermont. Then you must turn left on Vermont and drive 4.5 miles up until you get to Sunset Boulevard.
Sunset Boulevard? Let me get a pencil. Please go on.
You must turn right on Sunset and drive until you get to Lucille Street.
Okay, Lucille Street.
You must make a right on Lucille and go down 1 block until you get to Edgecliff. We're located on the left in front of the new kids' kindergarten.
Thank you. I think I can find it.
Good. See you soon.
You must take Western Avenue south to Vermont. You must turn left on Vermont. You must turn right on Sunset.
Honey, it's time to get up.
Yeah, I don't feel very well.
What's the matter, honey?
It's my throat. It hurts.
Oh, let's see. Kelsey, you must stay in bed.
Must I?
Yes, you must. You mustn't get up. Do you understand?
Yes, Mommy.
Honey, it's time to get up.
I don't feel very well.
What's the matter, honey?
It's my throat. It hurts.
Oh, let's see. Kelsey, you must stay in bed.
Must I?
Yes, you must. You mustn't get up. Do you understand?
Yes, Mommy.
Honey, it's time to get up.
I don't feel very well.
What's the matter, honey?
It's my throat. It hurts.
Oh, let's see. Kelsey, you must stay in bed.
Must I?
Yes, you must. You mustn't get up. Do you understand?
Yes, Mommy.
You must stay in bed. Must I? Yes, you must. You mustn't get up.
Kelsey's not feeling very well.
Ooh, poor thing.
She must stay in bed today.
What's the problem?
I'm not sure. She has a fever and a sore throat.
Oh, do you want to call the doctor?
No, not yet. Let's see how she feels tomorrow. If she's feeling better, then she could go to school.
Ooh, and what if she's not feeling good?
Well, then I'll have to take her to see Dr. Gorfu.
All right then, let's wait and see how she feels tomorrow.
Kelsey's not feeling very well.
Ooh, poor thing.
She must stay in bed today.
What's the problem?
I'm not sure. She has a fever and a sore throat.
Oh, do you want to call the doctor?
No, not yet. Let's see how she feels tomorrow. If she's feeling better, then she could go to school.
Ooh, and what if she's not feeling good?
Well, then I'll have to take her to see Dr. Gorfu.
All right then, let's wait and see how she feels tomorrow.
Kelsey's not feeling very well.
Ooh, poor thing.
She must stay in bed today.
What's the problem?
I'm not sure. She has a fever and a sore throat.
Oh, do you want to call the doctor?
No, not yet. Let's see how she feels tomorrow. If she's feeling better, then she could go to school.
Ooh, and what if she's not feeling good?
Well, then I'll have to take her to see Dr. Gorfu.
All right then, let's wait and see how she feels tomorrow.
Kelsey's not feeling well. Oh, poor thing. She must stay in bed. Hi, welcome back to the classroom. Today in Book Unit 2, we are going to talk about the word must. Must is a word that expresses necessity or obligation. Must. Now, what do I mean by necessity? In today's story, David must turn left on Vermont Street in order to find the garage sale. To say that David must turn left means that it is a necessity that he turn left on Vermont Street if he wants to find the garage sale where he and Monica are going to be buying the used furniture. Also in today's segment, Kelsey must take her medicine. It is a necessity that Kelsey take her medicine if she wants to get well. She must take her medicine. What about obligation? We might say, you must attend your sister's wedding. That is what we call a social obligation. You are obliged to attend your sister's wedding. Or, John must go to the office every day. He has a promise to be at the office in order to keep his job. It's an obligation. John must go to the office every day. There is another expression in English that we use to express necessity or obligation. It's the phrase have to. I'm just going to mention have to now. We'll really be learning about have to in Unit 7 of Book 2. You notice that this is an affirmative, these are affirmative statements. Must expresses necessity or obligation in the affirmative, just like that phrase have to. However, when we make negative statements using must, when we say must not expresses strong prohibition. Must not expresses strong prohibition. In other words, if you hear must not, that means don't. For example, if I were to take the sentences that we used before and show you what not does to the meaning of those sentences. David must not turn left on Vermont Street. He must not turn left on Vermont Street means that something very bad might happen if he turned left on Vermont Street. It's not just that there's no necessity or obligation to turn left on Vermont Street. It's that he must not turn left on Vermont Street. Maybe, for example, Vermont Street is a one-way street, and if he turned left on Vermont Street, he'd be facing the oncoming traffic and have a serious accident. He must not turn left on Vermont Street. In the same way, if I were to say, Kelsey must not take her medicine, that would mean she must not take her medicine because something bad might happen. Maybe the pharmacist made a mistake and he put somebody else's medicine in Kelsey's medicine bottle. He calls up Donna and says, Kelsey must not take her medicine. That's just to show you that if you hear must not, it means don't do it. Now, that phrase that I was telling you about before, have to, this is the way that we would express a simple lack of obligation or necessity. Do not have to tells us that something is not a necessity or an obligation. If I said David doesn't have to turn left on Vermont Street, that would mean that maybe there's another way that he could go. So he doesn't have to turn left on Vermont Street because he can turn left on Sunset Boulevard, something like that. Or if it meant Kelsey doesn't have to take her medicine, that would again be not something that would be so serious. Kelsey's gotten better, so now she doesn't have to take her medicine. Again, we will really be learning about have to and don't have to in Unit 7. But I wanted you to see the difference between don't have to and must not. So, again, in the affirmative, must expresses necessity, or obligation. In the negative, must not expresses strong prohibition. Don't do it. So, let's have a change of scene, shall we? That's better. We've been here before when we learned about can. Well, now we are going to learn about must. To make sentences that use must, we start with the subject pronoun, or whatever might be the subject of our sentence, a noun or a name, plus must, plus the base form of the verb. For example, I plus must plus, let's use the word work. Okay, our example. I must work. Let's learn about these affirmative sentences using must. We'll use that verb work. I must work. You must work. He must work. She must work. It must work. We must work. You notice must doesn't change whatever is the person that we're using. Plural, you must work. And they must work. Let's practice. First, the singular. Now, you tell me. First, I. I must work. You. You must work. He. He must work. Good. She. She must work. It. It must work. Now, how about the plural? We. We must work. You. You must work. They. They must work. Very good. And now, let's make sure that we understand how to use must in the negative, those strong prohibitions, right? I must not work. You must not work. He must not work. She must not work. It must not work. We must not work. You must not work. They must not work. Let's practice the negative of must. Singular, I. I must not work. You. You must not work. He. He must not work. She. She must not work. It. It must not work. How about our plurals? We. We must not work. You. You must not work. And they. They must not work. Now, our little dancer here. How about making negative contractions? To make contractions with the word the words must not, we use the word mustn't. It's funny, you don't usually hear the T when Americans say that word. I mustn't work. You mustn't work. He mustn't work. She mustn't work. The T and the end of must is really just really silent, isn't it? It mustn't work. We mustn't work. You mustn't work. They mustn't work. Again, that would be a very strong statement. No, 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 they mustn't work. Not just that they don't have to. Now, let's form those negative contractions. I must not becomes I mustn't. You must not becomes you mustn't. He must not becomes he mustn't. She must not becomes she mustn't. It must not becomes it mustn't. We must not becomes we mustn't. You must not becomes you mustn't. They must not becomes they mustn't. Let's practice those negative contractions. I must not becomes I mustn't, in this case, work. How about you must not work? You mustn't work. Now, next. He mustn't work. Next. She mustn't work. Next. It mustn't work. Now the plurals. We mustn't work. You mustn't work. They mustn't work. Now, what about our interrogatives, our questions? As we've learned so many times now, what we're going to do to form the question is to invert the subject and, in this case, our word must. I must work becomes must I work? Must you work? Must he work? I really want to know. Does he have to work? Must he work? Must she work? Must it work? Must we work? Must you work? How about them? Must they work? Again, to form the interrogatives, must I? Must you? Must he? She must becomes must she? Must it? Must we? Must you, both of you? Must they? Let's practice the interrogatives. Singular. Must I work? You? Must you work? Must he work? Must she work? Must it work? Next. Must we work? Must you work? And must they work? Very good. Now, let's try some exercises. Now, I want you to use must with the sentences that I give you. I will give you a subject or a subject pronoun, a verb, and then a phrase. So in this case, use must with she, go, and to the doctor. Remember, we're going to have our subject pronoun plus must plus the base verb go, and then the rest of whatever might be the phrase. So this one is going to be she, put the must in, must go to the doctor. Let's try another one. They do and their exercises are the phrases that we're going to be using. So they blank do their exercises. Good. They must do their exercises. How about this one? He, call, and home. He must call home. Okay, they go to school. They blank go to school. They must go to school. I hope this is easy for you. Oh, it looks like it's raining. You take an umbrella. Can you do it without a clue? Now here's the clue. You, blank, take an umbrella. Right. You must take an umbrella. It's a necessity, right? Oh, what's this? Huh. You look at this. You must look at this. It's a ghost, huh? That's a necessity. It's not usual. Now, we're going to use mustn't. And look at the difference now in these sentences. See how what we're going to be noticing here is this strong prohibition. Don't do this. He drive fast. He blank drive fast. He mustn't drive fast, or else he'll get into an accident. He'll get a speeding ticket, whatever, right? How about this one? Ooh. You play and with fire are our three different subject, verb, and phrase. You blank play with fire. You mustn't play with fire, or else. And we see this big forest fire, right? You mustn't play with fire. How about this? Up. He and smoke. He smoke. He mustn't smoke. Bad for his breathing, bad for his lungs, bad for his health, right? Up. They and fight. They mustn't fight. Looks like they're not listening. No. Now, let's practice making questions with must. He must go to school now? So how do we make a question? Remember, we're going to invert those first two words. So the question would be, must he go to school now? How about this one? The statement is, he must ask her to dance. Now, make that into a question. Must he ask her to dance? How about this? There's lots of traffic. We must drive carefully. Ooh. Or else we'll get a ticket, right? The question is, must we drive carefully? Okay, now here we are in court. The statement is, he must tell the truth. The question is, right, must he tell the truth? She must do her homework. Make that into a question. The question is, must she do her homework? There's John's shoe, right? He must kick the ball. The question is, must he kick the ball? Now, I'd like you to use must or mustn't. So, here we see, it is very cold outside. You blank leave the window open. Are you going to use must or mustn't? It's very cold outside. You mustn't leave the window open. Here's another one. Use must or mustn't. He is hungry. He blank eat. He is hungry. He must eat. It's a necessity. Now, use must or mustn't. He is tired. He blank sleep. Fill in the blank with must or mustn't. He is tired. He must sleep. Also, a necessity. If you're tired, you must sleep. Again, use must or mustn't. Oh, they're angry. They blank fight. We don't want them to fight, so we say, they mustn't fight. It's a strong prohibition. Up, I'm late. someone says, "You blank, hurry." You must hurry. Monica wants to learn English. She blank, study hard. She must study hard. Just like you are doing, right? Okay. The man is sleeping. Oh, looks like there's a rock band playing, and this guy is saying, telling them that they blank make a lot of noise. Right. They mustn't make a lot of noise. Well, we must be at the end of our lesson. Thank you so much for learning about must here at LEI.